First day as a fifth grade math teacher was terrifying. I walked into a gymnasium packed with hundreds of families and kids in August in rural Mississippi without air conditioning. The gym, I vividly remembered, smelled like floor wax and fear, which was mostly mine because I was just barely 21, probably still getting carded at a movie theater. And so let's just say the sweat stains were already forming as I went to the mic with my list of 30 names of the new students in my classroom. One by one, I called my new students down to get in line behind me from the bleachers. Jerinsky, Jacqueline, Ashley, David. Students lined up and we walked toward our classroom. The kids filed silently into their desks. I shut the door and realized for the first time 30 pairs of eyes were locked on me like a laser beam. That's when I learned there's no fear quite like facing down 30 10-year-olds all at the same time. I almost called down to the office and said, hello? Does anyone realize you left me in here alone with them? Eventually, teaching clicked. Long division, ratios, proportions, watching light bulbs go off in my kids' eyes. One of my students named Alan was 2 years older than the rest. He'd been held back. He'd missed a lot of days of school over the years. He was the oldest of 7 siblings. But when he leaned in, despite his challenges, you could see the potential, not just for him, but for his whole family. That first year taught me something that I've carried with me through my 2 decades in education. A classroom isn't just about academics. It's about opportunity. Change one child's path, and you can change an entire family. Multiply that across a school system, across an entire city, and education becomes the strongest engine of economic mobility we've got. And yet, there's a problem. In the US, almost 9 out of 10 students graduate high school, and in Houston, it's about the same. But then the bottom drops out. Only a quarter of Houston students earn a college degree or a credential, and by their mid-20s, just 20% are earning a living wage. Think about that. Most of our young people are being left behind, not because of a lack of talent, but because preparation isn't matching opportunity. So what do? We need a new North Star goal for public education. And at Good Reason Houston, we believe every system should be asking and held accountable for 2 big questions. Are our students on track to a job that will afford them a living wage? And how do we know? From the first day of pre-K to the first day on the job, we know what milestones matter. Early learning, middle school math, advanced coursework in high school. These aren't just boxes to check. They're some of the mile markers. They tell us whether we're putting more students on a path to a living wage, whether we're putting more students on a path to upward mobility. Don't get me wrong, graduating high school, a diploma, it matters, but it's not the destination. It's just one stop along the way. A diploma shouldn't just mean a student finished 12 years in school. It should mean their public education prepared them to step into a good job and a future full of opportunity and choice. Yes, wages show up later. They're a lagging indicator, but if we don't set that as the goal, if we don't take responsibility for it in public education, then we'll never make the changes needed to correct today's reality. Just 1 in 5 of our youth earning a living wage. The true finish line is this: public education preparing every child for a life of dignity, opportunity, and choice. Take Houston ISD, the largest district in Texas, as one great example. Just 2 years ago, nearly half of its 270 schools were rated D or F by the state. Tens of thousands of kids were literally falling behind. And then the district made a bold shift. Rather than measuring their success by how many kids graduated, they're now making sure that more kids are at the starting line, ready for a good job that affords them good wages. And that clarity sparked urgent action. Leaders aligned, instructed shifted, and now nearly 75% of those 270 schools are rated A or B, and not one is an F-rated school. More students today in HISD are meeting grade level standards than ever before. But here's the real headline. That doesn't just mean kids scored well on a test. It literally means tens of thousands more students on a path to an upward economic trajectory. And the lesson is, when a system sets a bold North Star and holds itself to that standard, transformation will follow. So imagine this with me for a minute. What if every young person who received a high school diploma knew with certainty that they were stepping into a future where they were prepared for at least a living wage job? That would change everything. Families wouldn't be living paycheck to paycheck. They'd have room to breathe, to plan, and to hope. And neighborhoods would feel it too. More lights on in the evenings because families are home together for dinner, more kids showing up at school, rested, fed, and ready to learn. And more small businesses would be started and run by people who grew up here right in our own communities. And our city would be built by a workforce that's from the ground up. Engineers, teachers, electricians, creators, all of them homegrown, all of them contributing. But maybe the most powerful thing that would change is inside our students. They'd walk into adulthood knowing they're standing taller, knowing their effort in school actually opened doors, and knowing that they have choices, and that those choices give them dignity and agency and life. So schools aren't just rooms where students are at desks. They're where futures get built, where the doors to opportunity swing open. But they can't do it alone. They need partners, embracing this same North Star, education as the most powerful driver of economic mobility. And that means setting one clear expectation for all of us. Every child on track to a living wage job. And communities have to hold schools to it, and partners have to help our schools achieve it. And when that happens, the impact doesn't just stop with one student, it ripples out through families, through neighborhoods, and through generations. On that first day of teaching, I froze in front of 30 pairs of eyes, and I wondered if I was up to the task. The truth is, every day, millions of kids are looking up at us, their communities, their leaders, their city, waiting to see if we're up to the task. Our responsibility is to deliver on the promise of public education, which is the strongest engine of economic mobility we've got. Because the future isn't being written in boardrooms or on Wall Street, it's being written in classrooms. So let's raise the bar and prepare all of our students for the real opportunity they deserve. Thank you.